Okay.
Actually been trying to go without glasses sometimes, but not at work.
Yeah, well,
Trying
that's,
to
you
heal
don't
my
wanna,
vision.
you don't wanna lose your fingers.
Yeah.
Everyone has pretty much the same facial structure. It's always good
Yeah,
to check it though.
I took the life drawing classes.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm
That's cool.
doing.
At the one eye width between the two eyes.
Oh really?
Yeah, the distance between your eyes is the same as the distance of your eye.
Oh man,
Width.
I missed that.
Top of the ear lines up with the eye line.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's what it looks like on yours.
Bottom of the ear lines up with the mouth, I think. Yep.
Roughly.
Because I always got yours wrong.
So what'd you go to art school?
I did undergrad at Appalachian State University.
Nice.
And did my master's at UNC Chapel Hill. Back in the day, so that was over 20 years ago.
20 years ago? Huh.
Almost, yeah. 2001, 2003. Where did you go to school?
I went to Cooper Union downtown. But I was in architecture school. I didn't go to art school.
Is that closed now?
No, it's just that
They lost their foundation.
they over leveraged their foundation, and then during the 2008 stock market crash, they had to institute tuition for the first time in ever.
Oh, I thought that was just like a couple years ago.
2014, I think. I'm not sure exactly when it started. And there was a big kerfuffle there for a while, which
Sure.
understandably. But apparently they're going to try to get it back. They're going to try to get free tuition back because, God knows, the rest of us would have I would have had to join the military had I not gotten into Cooper. So, not that America doesn't need more military, but
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have been good for it. So, you're a sculpture major or painting or what?
Started with metalsmithing, ended up in sculpture. In grad school was interdisciplinary arts, so a little of everything.
Gotcha.
Some video, some drawing, like conceptually bent.
Mm-hmm. What's that about? Conceptual art. Explain.
Oh, you got me. I forgot all about it.
Well, because it seems like that's the sort of art courant these days. I don't always get it. What's the basis of it?
It's just more focused on, less focused on the objects and just digging into more ideas and letting the medium kind of be dictated by the project's core concept.
Gotcha. So it's not about like.
Not necessarily ending in an object in the end.
Okay. So Willem de Kooning is not a conceptual artist.
No. Maybe an expressionist painter.
He's a retinal
Yeah,
artist.
it's a pretty loose term. It's loaded.
Yeah.
All terms are, I guess.
I'm just trying to bait you a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah, the neocons. I've actually been doing the first kind of abstract work that I've done ever really these days.
You are.
Painting, yeah.
Nice.
Working with encaustics, which I've never used before, which is really fun. Hot wax.
Oh, I should have done that.
But if you're pushing against and then you like release more, you can bring your life into you and you just like keep doing that. And that's like a way to, yeah.
So you were born where?
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Low country.
Hill country?
Low country.
Low country. That's all.
Yeah. But mostly lived up in the hills.
Does that mean something between living in the hills and living in the low country?
Yeah, North Carolina is a big state. It's
Yeah.
very different, like the Appalachian Mountains down to the coast.
Huh. I grew up in Pittsburgh, so we said everyone who was in West Virginia was a mountain person.
That's true.
They called themselves the Mountaineers. That's not what you're talking about.
Yeah, similar vibe. West Virginia to like Southern Appalachia all kind of blends. Definitely different from Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah. Although Pittsburgh's Pittsburgh. It's got its own.
I think I've ever actually been to Pittsburgh.
You know what you're missing, man.
It's where is the knitting factory in Pittsburgh? Or what?
Knitting factories in Pittsburgh?
it
And
art space?
knitting factory? Mattress factories, which you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Knitting factory, I think, is here. But Warhol Museum is there too.
That's a steel city, right?
That's what it used to be. It was the Iron City first, and then it became the Steel City. It's a nice enough town. It's got nice rolling hills, and the fact that people had to live there, they developed some very interesting architectural solutions to living on in a very hilly landscape. So a lot of the residential houses are up on the sides of the mountains.
I heard at one point it was the greenest city in the country.
Really? It's pretty green, which is surprising because it was like, really dirty for such a long time.
As far as environmental initiatives goes, I guess.
Well, Google has a campus there now, and so does Uber. Uber's working with Carnegie Mellon to develop a bunch of driverless cars, and they're using the site of an old steel mill as the place where they try out their products.
Oh yeah, I worked at Cornell for a few years. And they had, I think it was company supported, but they had a team that was developing driverless cars.
At Cornell? Uh-huh.
This was in like mid-2000s. And they had a course set up somewhere on campus. I know it was an old abandoned like army base
Right.
outside of Ithaca that they were. So it was kind of like a little abandoned town.
Right.
It was,
When was it? You were in Cornell when?
it was 2005 to 2008. I was the architecture shop guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
So you know how to use all those like CNC routers and shit? And
Laser cutters.
laser cutters? Huh.
To some extent, mostly keeping students from burning the building down.
Right, yeah. Cornell kids.
Yeah. They were intense. They worked around the clock.
Yeah, I think there's a myth in architecture school that you have to work around the clock all the time. I don't think that's true. You have to sort of do your work.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. High stress.
High stress, yeah. Architect wannabes.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I didn't go into architecture. I mean, meaning I
I-
studied architecture, but I didn't go into it because it was just too fucking chaotic.
Yeah, when I was looking at grad schools, I considered it briefly. And once I had Cornell jobs after my grad program, it definitely affirmed that I made the right choice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you ever
There's always a
need
suicide
affirmation, I
every
can always tell you.
year.
Really? At the Cornell?
Yeah, there was a bridge near the building, and some kid every year let somebody jump off the bridge.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Huh. You got great hair. I normally don't draw people's hair, but
It's probably the longest it's been since then.
so I'm not just interviewing this, I'm actually curious about this. But how do you sort of pursue your art career in terms of like residencies and grants and things like that? And how does one do
Interesting
that?
question, because I'm just starting to dig back into it, because it's been on the back burner.
Uh-huh.
And part of it has been the just the hustle of being in New York. 'Cause I've been here 4 years now,
Uh-huh.
and it's just been just
I have a hard time with
like
and I
work
was
balance,
like, 4 more, and then they were like,
trying to balance like
10 more.
money income generating work,
Right.
trying to keep the studio practice going and have a life.
Right.
So that part of that's why I'm doing this land project upstate, is to be able to have lower my expenses, possibly generate some income from that.
What's your
Trying
land?
to carve out more time for
What-
our work.
What land project do you do next day?
I bought land with my partner Harriet in December.
It was nice because there was
We're building a couple spots.
Nice. How far upstate?
About 2 hours north. It's called Dover Plains.
Hmm.
So
It is. It's all just like over and over.
back and forth. That's what I do when I'm not here, really.
Nice.
So hopefully be able to use this like a retreat, like a getaway, and when we're not there, rent it out to as an Airbnb thing.
Uh-huh.
We're putting up a big dome this weekend, actually.
You mean say
Also
dome
be
in
able-
like a bucky
geodesic,
folder or something?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
To also be able to rent it out for retreats,
Nice.
things like that. And, yeah, hopefully I haven't done a residency in a long time.
How do you even go find those?
There's like websites that kind of compile them together.
Oh, okay.
And working with like Harriet and I are doing some collaborative stuff too, and she's deeply embedded in that world.
Oh, yeah?
Grant writing and
Uh-huh.
networking and things.
Right.
So like we're trying to get a residency together next year.
Nice. I just decided
That's
recently.
the ticket, and I've known people that just get in that like groove
Of
where they
what,
kinda have a home
residency to
base, but
residency?
Yeah, they just spend most of the time just bouncing. Got a photographer friend that just travels the world just from one residency to the next. Really. I think once you kind of proven yourself,
Right.
you kind of got the stamp of approval for some. It's like, oh, this person's done all
Right.
this.
Right. Gotcha.
The last residency I did was in Georgia, and yeah, it was like 12 or 14 people. And it's a small world. So like a couple of people had been at another residency together, like, oh, you know, so and so, and
Oh, I guess I'm here for the rest of the day.
it's kind of what makes the world go round in that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because some of them, like that one was, there were a few visual artists, but like a composer, a novelist, a dancer. It was like, it's all about just giving people opportunity to just have some focus and time and space without distractions.
So here's another topic that is controversial. So what's the difference between life in the North and life in the South? Is there any difference?
Well, New York City is very different.
That's true. From most
So I
anywhere
imagine
else.
it's, yeah. The South tends to be a slower pace in general.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of the stereotypes are not true.
Right, of course.
Like I find that like people in New York have been some of the very friendly place. Feeling as a stereotype of being really harsh.
Right.
I mean, it is very fast paced.
Right. Everyone's got a hustle here.
Yeah. But in general, if you talk to people, I feel like it's all surface. Just like surface differences.
Gotcha.
I like that you're resting.
Do you miss living in the South at all, or no?
Not really.
Gotcha.
I could see myself up there and back again someday.
So where are you at? You're in the Bronx? No, you're not in the Bronx anymore. You gave that up.
I'm in Dumbo.
Sweet. Dumbo's like
You're
where
in Harlem, right?
all the models are, right? Yeah, I'm in Harlem.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, is like it has
It's
to
just
work
that,
out.
like, a lot of photo spots, photo op locations.
Right. And for the visitors. Right. Gotcha.
And for shoots, like there's a lot of photo shoots going on.
Right.
A lot of films being shot down there right now.
I know that a lot of women have pictures on their Tinder profiles taken down with the Manhattan Bridge in the background and the,
Washington Street,
yeah, right.
that's pretty much 24/7.
Right. I'll just paint a pair of wings on the wall somewhere so that people can have double
Gotta
reasons.
have the wings.
Always, I do say this, the drawings are always a mess. So just temper your
It's a good
expectations.
practice. No, I did. I was in Mexico a few months ago,
Nice.
and I hadn't done that in a long time. But I drew a portrait of somebody, and then I'm doing one of like everybody that was there. Some of them better than others, but
It's always the case.
yeah, I hadn't done it in years. So I was a little rusty, but
All the way down.
it's a fun
And then
practice.
on top of this, so just go all the way, like around the tip and then back.
You ever
up.
done blind contour
Yeah.
drawing?
Line, what's that mean?
Basically, like, we would each have a piece of paper, or this is the way I was taught. I mean, you can do it with anything, but it's interesting with people. You basically pick a spot. Like, you don't look at the paper, you put your pencil down.
Oh, uh-huh.
Like, find this point on your face, and then just kind of follow. Have my hand follow my eye
Uh-huh.
to where it crosses, like, around the contours.
Not that I've done that, but that sounds cool. Sounds like a fun exercise.
It's a good one. And it kind of cuts you off from expectations of what it looks like.
Ah, yes. There you go.
Keeps like it's good eye training, eye-hand connection, and it's fun. It always looks hilarious.
So what's your art like? What do you mean, like, what sort of things do you like to investigate or whatever? I'm not sure how deep, I don't know how you should talk about art because I didn't go to art school.
Oh, you don't have to.
I
It's
know,
like-
but there is a lingo.
yeah, that's irrelevant too. Really, I found that the arc of my creativity is kind of going back. At some point, crested and is kind of like getting me back to my teenage self right now.
Right. That's
Just
nice.
like freedom of exploration. And that's the core of it, really. Like, each project is something new. It's kind of what drives it. Like, right now I'm working on encaustics. I'm doing
Oh, yeah?
kind of
Paintings?
cutting. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's at the moment it's kind of dropping the ego and all this, like, all of this driving this like, kind of socio-political, conceptual art
Oh,
stuff,
mhm.
and like kind of getting out of the way, just trying to get back into flow. Because I haven't been making much art this year.
You've seen those encaustics over at the Egyptian wing, the ones that are like right in the first room, like sitting on top of like caskets?
I've done that.
In that, yeah.
I don't think so.
I always
haven't
sort of,
been there in a long time.
I always sort of regard them as sort of like the apogee of, not, that's not the word. I'm always impressed by them because they look like the people were just, like they're right there just so fresh.
Mhm.
Like as if the person just walked off the street and in fact it's like 2,000 years old. Which is, interesting.
I love that. Well, and a lot of or at least the way I'm working with it, a lot of that process is kind of a dance with like control and letting go.
Uh-huh.
Because the first one I did, because I didn't really understand the material yet, I did was a portrait. So I'm working with the new material. It's kind of like a ready-made. The content is there, the composition and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I did spend time doing this, like mixing like waxes, and did this pretty detailed portrait, and then heated it with a torch to like fuse the layers, and it just started doing like swirling.
Uh-huh.
It became something totally different. It was kind of a monstrosity, but then it was just like layering that up and just kind of playing with it.
Is that how encaustics work? You put on the dry wax or cool wax and then you heat it up? Or is that just one technique that you try?
That's that's what I've been working with. I mean, you can, see, I've got like a hot plate, and then I mix the color pigments, the wax. So I was just kind of keeping it hot, and paint with that hot wax. And it's kind of chunky, gold wax just kind of built up. Which you can leave it like that, like Jasper Johns does a lot of that, and it's like stays like that.
Right.
You heat it up, all the layers fuse and start to melt together, and then you get this beautiful kind of matte, looks like icing, like a fondant cake kind of thing.
Yeah, so I feel like dividing the I like the ones that name are back.
So that's, I've really been just responding to that.
Because they're like,
I did a bunch that
a
were
lot of
just
times like when I go to
freestyle
people like have to touch them because no, they're like
experiments.
they come up off of them.
And I've done a couple that are more like
big white knobs on the top of them, and they look like
focused,
something like an old like game with. Yeah. But they're so
figurative, or like have a subject matter. But I'll like start with the composition and then I let it do its thing and kind of bring it back and forth.
So,
Actually, I had started on, because I had a studio briefly, it didn't have enough time to justify the cost. But I made these big, they're like 7-foot diameter round canvases. They're actually built off the rings from the Harry Potter show that were out back.
sweet.
So I was starting to build, it's like I wanted to build some round stretchers.
Mm-hmm.
And was going to build them here, and then we were doing something out back. And I saw the rings. I was like, holy shit, you guys,
Ready made.
are you guys saving those, or so they ended up giving them to me?
Nice.
But now they're still outside the studio. I just have to find a way to get them to my place and where to put them. So when I moved out of the studio, I just stuck them in the hallway. I biked by there last week, and they're still there.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a finished painting now. And there's 3 of them that are just raw. But that's another trick of New York, is just space.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the constant challenge.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to change subjects again, which is just how's it? Because I have a kid. How do you manage to make art and be a parent?
I struggled with that a lot, and then I got to a point where I just kept a sketchbook. Like there were some years where I didn't make any art at all, really, to speak of. Maybe a couple of drawings here and there, but I realized it's something that doesn't go away.
The creativity of that
It's
impulse.
Like, so it was just kind of like, again, it's just everybody's got trying to strike that like life balance.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I had little kids, it was like that was definitely forefront.
Yeah.
And it was, I was happy, so it's like there were definitely times where I felt like it was more of a struggle, and like I wasn't getting it enough. I would get to a point where I was like not well, and I realized like I wasn't getting like taking
You
care
weren't
of
making
myself
stuff.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just taking enough time to keep that balance,
Right. Gotcha.
and then that ends up affecting other parts of life.
How have you managed? How's the pandemic affected things?
Pretty severely. I think it made me realize that, again, going back to the conceptual art thing, it made me realize that the objects really aren't important. So I realized when I could have infinite time in the studio, and it's pretty meaningless if it's not part of like a community, or there's not like an outlet for it. And it's been part of a challenge here too. So we're coming from a smaller place where like I was part of a community and showing art all the time, and that was what kind of drove everything.
Coming to you to New York, you mean?
I mean, in New York, because I haven't really like the output. Like I can be creating work, but like it's
Not part of
I
a.
haven't like linked like haven't been showing work.
Right, gotcha.
Aside from like if I just do some weird stuff on the street.
Right.
I've done a couple performance things. And that's what's made me realize that
That's key.
that is what it's all about.
Yeah, I've never actually had one of those, but I can see how that would be really nice to have.
I mean, like, I can't work in a vacuum.
Right.
So, and like, and I had kind of completely shut off social media and stuff before pandemic. At some point during, it's like, realized the benefits of that. 'Cause like, I know there's people doing incredible stuff right now that I have no, like, I was completely cut off. So it made me realize that that's,
What do you think?
Nice.
All right, right?
Yeah.
So I can send that to you as well as an
Yeah, please do.
you have an iPhone or send
Yeah.
you an email?
Either
an
one.
iPhone I can send
Yeah,
to you
I
right
got
now.
it. That'd be great.
how many of these have you done?
You're the 174th official portrait.
Wow, that's impressive.
9 months. Well, you know, again.
9 months.
Yeah.
It's like almost one a day, right?
Yeah, but I usually do I can sometimes do 5 to 7 on a day, so it catches up.
Very cool.